your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story, new paradigms for a new world where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We are here 9 times a week, Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, as well as YouTube, where you can watch these conversations. I hope that you will take time to subscribe and click notifications so that when a new conversation is posted, you'll be notified and you'll be able to tune in, listen in, and learn, be entertained and inspired. A reminder that Choices, which is my book, 5 Steps for Life, it's available on Amazon.com in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle with Audible, soon to be released. We also ask that if you can support the work that we are doing financially, we do have a PayPal account. It is there for your security as well as ours. And when they ask for an email address to whom you're sending, please go to richard@richarddugan.com. That's the email address. If you go to richarddugan.com, there is also a link directly to PayPal so that you can send us whatever support you can. And we thank you to those who have helped and to those who will help. We also ask that you take time during this decade of perfect vision, the 2020s, to go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm, still place and listen to that still, small voice. And with that, we now take you to our very special interview and guest here on Tell Me Your Story. And welcome to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. I'm Richard Dugan, Reverend Dr. D, your host, along with returning guest, and it has been a long time since we've talked with Kathleen O'Keefe, and it's great to have you with us, the Queen of Dreams. Thank you for being with us again.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me back onto your show because we always have such a great time on your show. I remember it from last time.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I am actually resurrecting my archives. I went all the way back to September of 2007.
Wow.
And I have been listening to each one, doing a little editing, removing days and times, things like this. And so your interview, and I can't remember when I had you on last, but I know it was some time ago. It will be coming up as well. I know that the information will be just as relevant as what we're going to talk about today. We'll talk a little bit about what you have gone through. I only can relate vicariously through my wife, who back in 2001 went through her own battle with cancer. And you're a 3-time cancer survivor, is that right?
That's right. Breast cancer.
Yeah. And also, we have coming up in the next month, we have, I believe March is National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, number 1. Number 2, it's also, if I'm correct, National Women's Day or Month, I should say, something along those lines.
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about in that regard, considering the fact that you qualify for those two. And then, of course, what's really wonderful, and you certainly will be celebrating too, the middle of the month of March, it's St. Patrick's Day, which is
yes,
big anniversary for me and you. In addition to being St. Patrick's Day, where we take some time to get the real story. By the way, he did not drive the snakes out of Ireland because there were no snakes in Ireland. They couldn't make it across the Irish Sea. In any event, also was the first day of the lockdown in 2020, which had its pros and cons. But it's also my 18th anniversary working full time for the radio station, which I've been with for 20 years.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff going on in March, as well as the 1st of March was the passing of my father 2 years ago. No, 3 years ago. And then at the end of March, 4 years ago, was the passing of my elder sister. And so some days to remember, not sad days either, because I'm glad that they were in my life. They were a part of my life, the family that I was a part of. And I want to jump in here to talk a little bit about this aspect. First of all, how'd you get the title Queen of Dreams?
It just happened. People were saying, on my radio show, Dreaming Healing, you're like the queen of dreams because I love to be on shows that are live with call-ins,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm probably going to be doing shortly. Somebody else invited me on their show as well, and they're going to have the second half just call-ins because I believe that your dreams are all about you. So you can't really look stuff up in a dream dictionary because, like we were talking about snakes, a snake for one person in a dream could be frightening. It could be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for someone else, like me, it means the Kundalini. It means a
Mm.
really strong spiritual message. Pay attention to the dream. So, what I like to do is kind of help people walk through their dream, and they tell me what the aspects of their dream mean to them. And then I can help them work out their dream. I don't go, oh, well, in the dream dictionary, a snake means this, that, or that. What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Because this is your message. And then the Queen of Dreams just kind of started happening.
Yeah. Now, do you utilize any of your own intuition to
Mhm.
sort of connect with the person and or their dream to maybe guide them a little bit through a better understanding of what they're sharing? And again, I'm not saying that you put words in their mouth by any means,
Mhm.
but okay, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? As opposed to, is the sky blue? Is the grass green? And are the birds chirping? And and are they crows or are they seagulls? Now
Mhm.
you've put ideas into their mind instead of them coming to you with that information.
Yeah, that's very intuitive of you, Richard. I must say, what I try to do is guide them, you
Yeah.
know. Okay, there was a bird. Okay, what kind of bird? What color was it?
Mm.
What did it do? How did you feel when you saw it? Did it talk to you? That's what I ask, those type of questions, because it's their dream and I don't know what they dreamed. I remember in one of the books, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, this one right here, which they kind of featured
Mm-hmm.
on the Unexplained, there's a dream in there where a gentleman had a crow, a big black crow, which if you're Norwegian or Viking of any kind, Odin had crows because he plucked out one of his eyes and the crows were his eyes. They were his seeing eyes and
Mm.
came back and brought him information. And this crow came down and kept pecking at his nose and pulled out this dark worm and flew off with it. And it was such a magnificent dream to this dreamer that he went to the doctor and they found that he had cancer in his nose, right where the black cancer,
Oh,
black
wow.
crow,
Wow.
pecked out. And if he hadn't gone when he did, going then saved his life because it's not that far from the tip of you, from the side of your nose up into your brain.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And that's
Now,
in the book. We have lots of stories like that in the book. So a lot of times, believe it or not, people get their own answers to their dreams like
mhm.
that, but they don't want to believe them because it's too scary. That's just too frightening. You don't want to believe that. So then you want to bounce it off somebody else who is a queen of dreams to see if you get the same validation. And of course, my answer was go to the doctor. The worst that will happen is he'll say there's nothing there. We did all the tests. There's nothing there. And then I will often say, keep an eye on it because in our dream world, there is no time. It's like Einstein's world of relativity.
Mhm.
There's only the big now. There's no past. There's no
Yeah.
future. It's all now. So we don't know when that now is going to show up. So
Mm.
just keep an eye on it. They call it, precognitive dreams. It's just all the big now in the dream world.
Mm. And then there are also those people who they remember the dream, but I'm guessing that your facilitating helps them to draw out more details that
Mhm.
for whatever reason, and maybe it be due to time has gone by,
Mhm.
um, that they remember a lot of the general stuff, but not a lot of the details because they don't stop, shall we say, the dream, stop the
Mhm.
movie, to
Mhm.
take a closer look at some of the details around, and you help them to draw those out.
That's correct. It could be an epic dream. In other words, it's such an important dream, maybe dealing with their life. For example, and often an epic dream will also be a recurrent dream. And this is how that works, Richard. Let's say you had a very, very bad relationship in your earlier life or a previous life.
Mm,
And in your dream, you went back and remembered that episode in that lifetime because you're coming up on it again. You know, if you believe in reincarnation, we actually reincarnate with soul groups that we've reincarnated with before. And maybe one of the things that we needed to learn in that previous life and did not was that we love. Love is not reason enough to stay with someone in a relationship. It's love is love.
hmm
Just as sadness is sadness. And so if you were in a love relationship previously that turned out very badly, but you weren't able to leave because your love connection was so strong and it ended up destroying you. Now, in this lifetime or in this time of this lifetime, you're coming up on that again, that same relationship with a similar person in this lifetime, or possibly the same person from a previous lifetime. And
mm,
it's time for you to stand in your power, go through that dream, remember what you felt, look for the similarities, and decide whether or not you're strong enough to walk away this time, how you're going to do it, or if you have the tools now to fix it. It's very, very important. And so sometimes I guess you could almost say, I'm like a dream therapist as well. I'm helping you and your dream work together for the betterment of your life.
mm. We're talking with Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos, and we're talking about dreams. And this is not a dream, although there would be those who would say that, based upon that movie that everybody knows, that we're living in a matrix.
Mhm.
And I always go back to Star Trek and the one episode in Next Generation where um, the uh, um, the the thrust of it is the holodeck. And
Mhm.
Moriarty, who is the nemesis, shall we say, of Sherlock Holmes, he is in this particular scenario, and Data is very curious about Sherlock Holmes, always processing in that regard.
Mhm.
Well, what ends up happening? Moriarty manages to supposedly escape the holodeck. Not supposed to be able to do that,
Mhm.
and they manage to trick him into entering another holodeck, but he doesn't know that that's what he's entered. And they manage to contain him into a box that has enough data space, if you will, or hard drive space in the current vernacular, so
Mhm.
that he can travel for decades, if not centuries, without ever knowing that he's ever left the holodeck. And the last scene is Data standing in the conference room, holding the box with the blinking lights, looking out the window of the Enterprise, and utters those words, computer, end program. And of course, it doesn't end. And a lot of people do feel as though that's where we are living. You know, they've developed virtual reality. Well, matter of speaking, we're already there. We don't
Mhm.
need the goggles.
Mhm.
So, we're living in someone else's dream.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering what your perspective is on that particular element. I'll let you address that first because I got a couple other things dovetailing off of that.
Okay. Well, I think that our dreams are a type of virtual reality. And they're very interesting because we can dream with others. In other words, we can share dreams across time and space because there really is none. If you think of us being in a 3D environment in our mind or a computer in our mind, it's actually 5D. So with dreams, we can go between 3D and 5D and pull in the information from the 5D into our 3D
Hmm.
dreaming world into our waking world, and take information from our waking world, bring it into our 5D dreaming world, the matrix, and do what I call dream work. And
Hmm.
that's where you try out different scenarios, which you're allowed to do on that deck in the Star Trek episodes. You're allowed to do that. And you can do the same thing in your dreams. Case in point, you have a really difficult boss to work with at work. And you're getting to the point where you want this job, you need this money. You don't want to switch jobs again. You like the job. You like where you work. You just don't like him.
Hmm.
And so in your dream world, that 5D, that virtual reality world, you can go through a number of different scenarios to solve the problem. You can behead him and there are no consequences because it's not real. It's
Hmm.
just virtual reality. You can behead him, but then you feel so bad because you have to attend the funeral and see all the people who loved him grieving. So you decide in that dream world, no, no, that's not a good solution. So you come up with another one where you fire him and then he just laughs at you in the dream because you're not his boss.
Hmm.
So you go through all of these different scenarios with possible solutions, and you find one that works. And that's where you sit down with him face to face and you come up with um, verbal reasons why the two of you would really work well together if you could just get past this bump in your work road.
Yeah.
You decide the next day you're going to have a meeting with your boss and go through this scenario, and boom, it works. That is the same thing, bringing from the 5D into the 3D and using it to improve your life.
Hmm.
Teamwork.
We're going to talk more about this as we continue talking with Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos here on Tell Me Your Story. It's new paradigms for a new world. That's our general theme, if you will, looking for those new ways of living. The old ways don't work. Just look around you. And we're going to give you some choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. And something that Kathleen probably doesn't know about, and that is those choices are now in book form. It's called Choices 5 Steps for Life, available through Amazon, hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. And I hope that folks will get a copy of that. It's fascinating to me about how choices, it's funny. After I wrote the book and I started doing interviews following the conversations that, in the conversations I was having, the one thing that really struck me, Kathleen, was our life. And I didn't do this on purpose, mind you. Our life is all about choices. It's like somehow the universe gave me the title that sums everything up, that
Mhm.
it's all about choices. And to that extent, when we get back to the concept of dreams, it's a choice as to whether or not we remember our dreams. Because am I correct that we always dream every night, or at least most nights? But it's up to us as to whether we remember them, i.e., asking the divine, I want to remember my dream. I want to remember my dream. You just repeat that, and it
That
will
is
let you do
something.
that. I want to
Mhm.
share an instance with you, but first, talk to us a little bit about that aspect of choices and remembering the dreams because of their potential importance to us here in this particular reality.
Yes, absolutely. And congratulations on your book. I didn't know that. I'd love to have you on my Dreaming and Healing show
I'm
to
there.
talk about it. Okay,
All
great.
right.
So those choices, one of the things that makes us, I tell people all the time, one of the things that makes us humans different from the angels is we have choices. That might be one of the reasons why they're a little bit jealous of us. They don't necessarily have the choices that our higher power gave to us, those choices. And again, going into the 5D dream world, your virtual reality, you can try the different choices. That's what I was just talking about, to come up with one that's going to work with you in your waking world. And so but you can't really do that, Richard, if you don't remember your dreams. What good is it if you don't remember your dreams? That means that you are missing out on so much that's so important, because it's also through the dream world, the room between realms in the dream world, that we're able to connect with our deceased loved ones. And when we're in a place of danger, or we have to make a very big decision and we don't know what to do, they'll actually come into that realm with us, spend some time with us, sometimes just to hug us, let us see them, to make sure that we understand, if we're going through a health issue, that we're not alone, that if we die, we're going to be back with them. They're waiting, they're there, or they're going to help us get through this illness. So if you don't write them down, the dreams down, then you're missing out on half of the reason you're even alive. Because I believe, Richard, I believe, and there's no real proof of this, but dreams are our umbilical cord back to where we were before we were born, which in my case, I believe it's heaven. And when our umbilical cord was cut in the hospital, the one that leads back to our higher power in this other realm remained intact. And one way that worked is through the dreams. That umbilical cord connects us through the sacred dream doors into that realm where we can collect information that we can't get here.
Yeah.
So, but when you collect that information, Richard, you've got to write it down, because when you wake up, you can't, it's just too difficult to remember it.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I use the acronym So Dream to help me remember my dreams. Do we have time to do that, or do you need to go to a break before?
I'll tell you what, I'll do it very quickly and let you know that you are listening to Tell Me Your Story. Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos is our guest. We're talking about dreams on the program that brings you new paradigms for a new world. It's dream time, ladies and gentlemen, but please, if you're driving, don't do that. Don't even try it. We ask you to sit back, relax, because she is going to share with us, she being Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos, about this acronym she called, and it's a long acronym,
Yeah.
So Dream. Is that right? So Dream?
So Dream.
All right. What is that all about?
Okay, so you're right. It is a long acronym. So all of you who are listening, if you go to my website, Kat, the Queen of Dreams, or KathleenO'Keefe-Kanavos.com, you can download for free a dream journal that uses the acronym So Dream. So if you're listening, don't pull out a paper and pencil, just listen, and then you can go and download that for free. That's my free gift to everybody who's listening on your show today.
Okay.
So SODREAM. Set your intention before you go to bed. I'm going to remember my dreams. I want to remember my dreams, therefore I'm going to remember my dreams. Or it could be, I want to see that my mother is okay. My mother passed, and I want to see my mother, even if only for a second. Set your intention and write it down in your dream journal. Oh, organize yourself before you go to sleep. Have your dream journal by your bed, some means of writing or recording, whether it's your phone, whether it's a pen, if you've got it in a journal book, or if you're just going to use your phone and talk into it. If you're by yourself, it's fine. If you've got a husband or a wife beside you, might disturb their sleep. But just have yourself organized before you go to sleep. Seize on that moment to reflect on what it is you want to dream about. Just kind of go into your mind and reflect on that going into your sleep. Then D, dream. Declare that you're going to dream, and then record that dream. Okay, remember details in the dream as they're happening. Record them in your mind. Suddenly I went through a door and I was in a jungle. Okay, so what is it? You need to know what a jungle means to you. You need to have that written down in order to explore it. Then, E, what are the emotions that you feel when you wake up? What are your emotions? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you confused? Are you frightened? What is your emotion? Write that down and you can work on it. Then, what you want to do is add to what you've got already. Did you see people? Did you see animals? Were you in a room? Were you in a place you were at before? Did you recognize anyone? Add to your dream. Did you see color? Did you hear voices? Add those things in. Don't worry about the whole picture. It will come back slowly by grabbing a hold of these little tiny pieces and bringing them down into your journal. And then M, go back into what you've written down as the important aspects of that dream and underline, like the bird, the bluebird. You were in the forest. It was daytime. What does that mean, M? What does that mean to you? And you're going to figure out your dream just by using that acronym, So Dream.
I love that. I love that. So we've got so dream, and obviously the first thing is set intention. So
Mhm.
I am one of those who rarely rarely remembers his dreams. Now, I've shared a rather significant one over the years um, that involved a number of different fascinating elements. Um, and this was long before I ever had my lens implant. And that, by the way, I just realized March 6th of this year, it will be 10, 20, 30 years since my lens implant. 30 years, 1996. I've been driving since then. But the dream took place prior to my lens implant in 1996, March.
Mhm.
And the dream basically consisted of the following: I am driving on a rather pristine white concrete highway. All right. 405 kind of looks like that.
Mhm.
All right. And I'm driving a white van, and I come into a left hand curve, not turn, but curve. And all of a sudden, on my right is this forest. And there is an off ramp, and I get off and I drive through the forest on this road off the freeway into this huge meadow, beautiful green everywhere, blue skies. It's absolutely gorgeous. I come upon this stone house with these arched glass windows in front. And I go inside, and there is my grandmother, my mother's mother.
Mhm.
Not a word is said. She gives me a hug as to say, everything's okay. Now, my grandmother, my mother's mother, and I don't remember what year it was, but I must have been in my late teens or early 20s. She was there for Thanksgiving. And that night on television, they were showing her favorite her favorite movie, a movie that she took us to when she was living in Florence, Arizona, to a drive in theater, and it was The Sound of Music.
Mm.
That night, according to my eldest sister, who has since passed, she got up. My grandmother got up, went to the bathroom, came back, laid down, and when we got up in the morning, she had passed.
Mhm.
I applaud my parents to start with for allowing us to stay there, to be a part of this experience. That was wonderful. So that's why she was telling me in the dream, hey, everything's okay. Now, first of all, I was not driving at the time of the dream, let alone on a freeway, then let alone through the forest, out into a meadow, etc., etc. The irony is that not too long after I got my lens implant and I was driving, my parents sold me their white Dodge Caravan.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Now, if as far as going into further details, I would have to spend some time thinking about it, but nonetheless, that's the gist of it. But here's the reason I even bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Back in January of 2026, during the day or late evening, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but we were talking about dreams, or the subject came up, or it was on a documentary we were watching. And I remember the adage about what you just said as far as make set your intention. So I said, I want to remember my dream. I want to remember my dream tonight. I want to remember. And the next morning got up, I grabbed my little pad and I wrote it down. And the main feature was a bathtub. In that bathtub were piles of books. All right. Now, what's interesting is above the bathtub, on what's considered to be a like a four-poster bed, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a bed, it was a bathtub, but above it was this platform that had sides on it. And this was made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the platform, or on top of the platform, was this woman, this girl, probably maybe late teens, early 20s, could even be in her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And she was trying to get out. And there was another gentleman that was there with me wearing a white long sleeve shirt, black tie, black slacks, and I don't recall his face off the top of my head. Nonetheless, he began to try to help me to help her. And I said, the first thing we need to do is we need to remove the books from the bathtub. Because if she falls, we don't want her to fall on the books that are not even and hurt herself even further than she might already be injured.
Mm-hmm.
So we removed all the books. I don't remember the titles, they were just piles of books. And then we began the process of lifting her up and over the the edge of that platform and down onto the floor. And that is pretty much, and again, I have this written down, and I was actually going to read from it, but I'm not going to do that
Mm-hmm.
at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, um, it was like, okay, books are significant because I'm always getting books. As a matter of fact, we gave away 1,000 or more books before we moved from Santa Barbara. I probably sold to the used bookstores in Phoenix 1,000 books or more before we moved to Santa Barbara. Uh, and I still have 1,000 or more books in the bookcases up in our living room. So books are rather prominent in both my wife's and my in our life.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay, it's going to take me a while to process this one, because yeah, certain elements make sense. The books, bathtub, a guy in a suit, or not? He wasn't a suit. It was just a shirt, tie, and slacks.
Mm-hmm.
Girl up in a kind of like a loft, if you will, and maybe it was like an overhead, like a bunk bed. It was like a bunk bed, but she couldn't get out of it. She was stuck somehow. I mean, it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where I sit there, and I know other people do the same thing with their dreams, and I realize I've gone on rather long here. It's fascinating to me what we do remember and what we don't remember, no matter how hard we try, for again, maybe reasons of trauma, for all I know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you remember your dreams every night and record them and go through that So Dream acronym? Or are there nights when, oh, I'm glad I didn't dream last night because I don't have to write it down and process it and go through that kind of thing?
Yes, yes, absolutely, Richard. There were times when, especially when I was in cancer treatment, because I was in cancer treatment for almost 10 years with recurrence,
Hmm.
because the recurrence is pretty bad. And I remember writing down my dreams every night. That was my job, was basically to connect with my inner selves and my spirit guides and guardian angels to help me survive. And I remember there were some nights where when I would say my prayers at night before I'd go to sleep, I'd say, please, tonight, can I just sleep? Don't wake me up at 3 in the morning and say, write this down. I just would like to sleep. And they would let me sleep. They would realize I'd reached my max. But the dreams that they sent me were things to eat. Like, for instance, one dream was that my spirit guide came in and said, you need to eat dandelions. And in the dream, I looked at the spirit guide, which are monks.
Hmm.
They're monks. And I'm not even Catholic. I don't know where the monks came from. I never did find out. But I remember looking at this monk and saying, you want me to go out in the yard and eat weeds? Is that what you're telling me? And he said, dandelions. Yeah, go eat dandelions. And so I did. I told my husband, and my husband's Greek, Peter. You remember
Hmm.
Peter Canova,
Yeah.
an author too. And he said, well, the Greeks have been eating dandelions forever. And I
Yeah.
said, are you kidding me? He said, no, it's supposed to be very healthy for you. Well, I wrote that in my book, my first book, Surviving Cancerland. And just now, research came out showing that the root of the dandelion plant can actually explode cancer in the body within 20 minutes of eating it. That just came out. It was a big release.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why our dreams are so important.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've got to stop for a break again or not, but your two dreams were so interesting. I would love to talk about them.
Well, let's do that. I have never been afraid of sharing myself.
Oh, they're both good. Oh,
I
they're
when
really
I
good.
talk about my medical conditions, I'm not violating HEPA because I'm talking about me, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Although there are times when I make reference to how we here at Tell Me Your Story and I become plural. I don't know how that happens, but it's
Oh, that's
fascinating.
in the second dream. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll
That's
tell you what,
there.
folks, let's take a pause here and remind you that we're talking with Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos. And by the way, let's have your husband back on the program as well. I'd love to talk with him
Oh,
about
I'm
the work
sure
he's been doing.
he would love to do that. Yeah, he can either do the Pope and Elisa trilogy or his latest book, which was Quantum Spirituality, which is a real mind blower.
Oh, there we go. There we go. And I loved the interview I did with him on Pope Elisa. Was oh my God, and some of the other things that I've read since then and become aware of, just fascinating. Well, I tell you what, the fascination continues as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, that's right, legitimate Reverend with the Universal, I believe it's the Universal Whole Life Church. It's an online church, and I tell you, Kathleen, I got an email from them. What was it, 2 years ago, maybe three?
Mhm.
Congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. And I'm going, oh yeah, I remember signing up for that. And then I decided, you know what? I think to remember it, I'm going to use that in my title. Doctor is, of course, more honorary. I consider myself an audio physician. I'm an archivalist. And
Mhm.
then when somebody found out about that, they said, "Ah, Dr. D." And I said, "Okay." So I use both of those, and it's just kind of fun to do. You are the Dream Queen, or the Queen
Mhm.
of Dreams, if you
Yeah.
will,
What am I
and
little crown?
because I don't have a yeah, I was wondering where is your crown?
Here's my crown.
We're going to talk a little bit about. I'm going to have her go through the two dreams that I just shared, and for those who, because I've gotten remarks from people watching the videos of Tell Me Your Story as well as the audios. Thankfully, they are kind and rare. Basically saying, "Why don't you let the guests talk more?" It's a conversation, folks, and you know as well as I do, when you get into a conversation with someone, there are times when you might do 51% or more of the conversing. But you know what? It's about the exchange. And so we're going to turn it over to Kathleen. I'll answer any questions that you want and sit here quietly otherwise.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, so I love to do dreams. So your first one that I found very interesting, you're driving on a highway. Let me tell you first that in my dreams and in most dreams, our body is our house.
Mm.
And so when somebody says, there was something going on in the attic of my house, it was there was like water in there, or this in there, and that in there. My first question is, have you been having sinus problems? Are you
Mm.
holding fluid in your
Mm.
sinuses? Because that's our attic. but the way we get around, the way our body is moved from spot to spot is by a car, by a bike, or by a
Mm.
horse. We move our house or we move our body by some other means. Sometimes we walk, but if we're really going to travel to learn something, which is what you were doing here, we often go by car. So you are traveling on and look for the play on words, Richard,
Hmm.
the highway, not a small dirt road.
Uh,
Okay. It's a
the
highway.
highway.
You took the high road and it was white. What does white mean to you?
Pristine for one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's the color of heaven. It's a heavenly color. It's
Oh.
a purity.
Hmm.
So you're taking the highway and you're traveling on purity. And the van is white. So you're traveling on purity, in purity,
Mm.
because your destination deals with purity right away. And then you come to a left-hand curve. Okay. So usually in the dream world, at least this is my dream world, the left is the past and the right is the future. And if you think about it, if you're writing something on a paper,
Hmm.
what you've written on the left-hand side is already the past, and you're moving toward the future on the paper as you continue writing. So you have a left-hand curve, sort of like a curveball, a curve taking
Hmm.
you out of the past and into a forest on the right
Hmm.
in your future.
Hmm.
So what does a forest mean to you?
Hmm. There is comfort there. There is um, connection specifically with the earth, but even with that connection, also with, at least from my perspective, with the divine, because that's how it all came about. And
Mhm.
it's almost. I'm trying to remember the words that James Redfield used in his book about the old growth forest. That's it, and
Mhm.
how they are they are just a wonderful place to be. That's why we love where we live now in the pines here in Twin Peaks.
Yes, and James Redfield used to go out into the forest and just sleep under a tree. He wrote the foreword for my husband's second book, so we were speaking to him, and I'd say, James, you would just go out and sleep with bears under the trees? And he said, yeah, I was safe in the forest. The forest would protect me. The trees would protect me. So there you are, going into a place of protection from a place of pure. You're traveling them traveling there to them, the big forest,
Hmm.
um, in a state of grace.
There's also a sense of protection too.
Hmm. Okay, so then you come to a meadow. What does the meadow mean to you?
Mm. Uh, Open space, freedom to roam,
Hmm.
especially freedom to roam without running into anything, because the meadows are usually devoid of any other plants, what have you. It's just this beautiful grassy area.
Hmm.
You know, I even think about it and think, oh, okay, was it just mown? I can't tell, but boy, it looks great, really green. And the green, of course, is a nice healing color as well.
Hmm. It is a color of growth. And what do most people do in a meadow?
They walk through it. They enjoy just being out there and walking through the soft grass. It's what I
Hmm.
think of in terms of just enjoying the connection, doing what has become very popular nowadays called grounding. You
Hmm.
know,
There you
kick off
go.
the shoes, kick
You
off the
just got
shoes.
it.
Yeah, the grounding. Yeah,
The ground, you became grounded there.
yeah.
You went from the highway in through the forest where there is abundance of spirituality and
Mm,
protection and
mm.
knowledge. Those trees are so full of knowledge
Oh,
into an area of now grounding.
yeah.
And you come upon a stone house. What is the strongest type of house you could possibly have that can survive anything?
That would be it.
That
And
would be.
I will tell you that my first house that I bought with my first wife, I said, has to be brick, block, or stone. Okay.
Mhm,
Granted, this house here is mostly wood, but that's all right. That's fine.
mhm.
But stone is the best place, especially considering the fact that the wolf can't blow it down.
Right. That's you read my mind. I was thinking the same thing. The wolf can't blow it down, and that's why these ancient castles with their arched windows of stone are still standing.
Mm,
Age doesn't make any difference in those castles. They're ageless. They're
mm,
there forever. And so, and that's where you meet your grandmother in
hmm
an ageless place that's filled with knowledge, that's seen the world, that's seen everything. And she's sitting in there with you, and she tells you from a place of wisdom, surrounded by trees that are wisdom, that everything's going to be all right.
mm,
And then all of a sudden, you're in a drive-in theater. Again, you're back in your car,
mm.
traveling, and you hear the sound of music. What do you hear when you're in the forest and the wind blows?
Oh my, because we hear that now all regularly. We're
It's
so
the
far
sound of
away from the
music,
roadways.
isn't
It's
it?
just a beautiful sound of the wind through the trees.
Mhm.
It's
Yes,
just it's kind of like you can take it either way. Like kind of like Mother Earth inhaling or exhaling. Oh, it's
exactly.
just yeah.
Life flow as music. And so then
Mm,
you're brought back, you're taking this 5D and you're bringing it back into the 3D, and you're talking about your grandmother in real life where she went to the bathroom. And it's interesting that you've got a bathtub in the next dream, but we're not in the next dream yet. Bathroom is where you go to purge and
mm-hmm,
purify yourself.
mm-hmm,
It's where you go to get rid of the what you don't need anymore.
mm-hmm,
After you've eaten, you don't need that anymore. You go into a bathroom, and once she has purified herself, she she dies. She
mm-hmm,
leaves, and
mm-hmm.
she's in your dreams forever because she's spirit now. She's not body. She lets go of the car. There is no car.
Yeah,
There is no body now.
yeah,
And so your waking world memory is validating your 5D dream
yeah,
that everything's all right,
yeah. You
doesn't
know what?
end.
The most fascinating thing about this process we just went through
Mhm,
is as I was sharing the dream, I'm seeing it in my mind's eye,
mhm,
and the images, the colors are as vibrant today as they were when I had the dream.
mhm,
There is no fading. It's not like when you see a bunch of old photographs and the sepia tone has turned a reddish tint to it, that kind of thing.
mhm.
It's extraordinary how that happens. Uh, it's not analog, it's not digital, it's beyond all of that. It's just incredible. It really
Yeah.
is.
It's like the music that you hear in a dream.
Yeah.
It's music that is so pure and so on key, and the tone is so pure that you can't duplicate it in the waking world. Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's extraordinary. It really is. Um, Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos is our guest here on the program. She is the queen of dreams, and we just kind of went through one of the dreams that I had. Um, it's interesting too how even as children, we if we have a connection with a parent, especially in my case, my mother, and a very short dream where there I know I was a little kid. I mean, could have been maybe 4 or 5 years old because I was looking up at her, and somehow she reached her hand into this jar, and the jar shattered and cut her hand. And that's the gist of the dream. That's about it. But it was one of those that I thought, okay, because I care about my mother's health and welfare. These days, when I call her, and she's 91 this year in September,
Mhm.
My father has since passed. He passed at the age of 91.
Mhm.
And when I call her and I talk with her, I know what mode she's in. Not mood, but mode. She's either in the friendly mode of, hey, it's great to hear from you. What's going on? Da 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 da. Energy, just strong voice and all this kind of stuff. And then there's the mother mode when the tone is lower, softer. You can hear the motherly concern because of what my wife and I have been going through the last 7 or 8 or 9 months, as
Mhm.
far as the move and everything. And when I hear her in the former mode, that that real energetic mode, I even tell her, I said, "Man, you sound great. You sound, and she says, I'm having the time of my life. I'm sure she still misses her husband, my dad, as we all do, but she is living in the now. She is enjoying what she's doing, and she's got my four brothers-in-law, even my late sister's husband. All of them told me when I was there for my father's memorial, don't worry, we're going to be checking on her all the time. And I said, you know what's really cool, guys? I do have a younger brother, but it is so nice to have four other brothers, not in-laws,
Mhm.
going to be here to take care of mom. That
Mhm.
was so cool. I will never forget that moment, that we had that conversation, and I knew
Mhm.
she was going to be okay, because it's difficult for my wife and I to get away. We have animals, that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
now that we live a little closer, I've told my mom that hopefully this summer, well, I don't know about going to Phoenix in the summer. Uh, but anyway, we're going to visit as soon as we can, because we are a little closer and we could fly out there for a very inexpensive rate and all that good stuff, and spend some time with her and the other rest of the family. My
Mhm.
sister even said, "Hey, make sure you let us know when you're coming so we can, prepare and everything." I no, no, I'm just going to show up. No.
Okay.
But it's really amazing. I want to ask you, differentiate for us your understanding, and maybe it goes without saying, but I'm going to ask it anyway, between the clarity and the wisdom, if you will, of a dream versus just a memory that we have.
Mhm.
Because sometimes they look very similar. I mean,
Mhm.
like I said earlier, the colors and the imagery and so forth is just crystal clear. And
Mhm.
yet, when we go back into our memories, there's maybe we missed something, and we need to go back and revisit that memory, not dream, but memory, to pick up something that we missed, that would really be helpful today.
Mhm. Well, it's possible that that memory is also a daydream.
Hmm.
And sometimes people who cannot dream or they think they don't dream, and it could be because they're on medications, certain health medications, or they're afraid of their dreams. Some people are so afraid of their dreams when they have them because they're so truthful that they forget them to protect themselves. But they can often be a way we talked earlier of triggering a memory because you're going into it again. And so it's saying, remember when we did this before? Remember everything because you're going to do it again. It's like you're going to be tested again. Yeah, we had a similar test in third grade, and now we're in the fifth. You need to remember the third grade stuff because you're going to have to add it to this now that you're in fifth grade. And
Mm.
so that can often be it. But if you have a dream and you're confused by it and you're not really sure what you want, what the dream was trying to tell you, you can always make your intention. You remember with the so dream,
Hmm.
set your intention to have a clarifying dream. And in the
Oh.
book, that my book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, I'm not going to
Mhm.
go through these, but I have the 7 types of dreams in there. And you can actually set your intention to have a clarifying dream, and that clarifying dream can explain a dream to you. For example, in this book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, um, there's a story in there where a woman had a dream where she could not figure out what the dream was trying to tell her.
Hmm.
And so she knew, but she knew it was an important dream. It just wasn't clear. And so she set her intention to have a clarifying dream the next night. And in her dream, her spirit guides took her to a graveyard in Ireland. She was Irish, and pointed to a grave.
Mm.
And she said, I don't get it. I still don't get it. Tell me what you mean. So they took her and they showed her another grave that had all these daisies and flowers on it. And they said, if you don't go and get that spot checked, you're going to be under the ground pushing up those daisies.
Mm.
That's what they said to her in the dream. And she woke up and said, I got it. And she went and had a spot checked, and she had a melanoma.
Wow. Wow. Talking about memories and dreams, some dreams sometimes don't have a camera. It's just audible. My
Yeah.
wife and I were in Ireland in 2004, right before her birthday. And we were staying on what was considered to be an island. It was connected by a bog road or bridge, but it was technically, I guess, it was an island. Anyway, one night I was dreaming and I heard a dear friend of ours say something to me. Now, he lived across the street from us in Phoenix. He lost the lease on the house he was in. So we said, well, come live with us until you get things squared away and you got another place, which he did, came to live with us. He then passed away in our home on the 10th of October of 2003. Yeah, that was it, 2003. And we were even going to invite him to go with us because we were planning on going to Ireland that next year in February. We were going to have him go with us. But nonetheless, so there I am, and my wife and I are there. We're sleeping, and I get this audible dream that said, "Don't say anything in front of Bridget." All right. Well, a few days into the vacation, we take this ferry out to the Aran Islands to Inishmore, the
Oh,
island of
yeah.
Inishmore,
Uh-huh.
and we're taking a walking tour and so forth, and we come to this cemetery. I want to say it was something along the lines of it was the cemetery of the five churches or something.
Mhm.
And they had this cute little altar and they had this round disc of stone with a hole in it. And I joked to the, oh, well, this is the first wheel, and so on and so on and so on. Well, my wife Amrita was over there looking at some gravestones, and she came over to me and she says, come here, you need to see this. See if I can get through it. So I walked over there and she says, read the name on the gravestone. And the name on the gravestone was Bridget McDonough. And I put my hand over my mouth and I walked away.
Oh
Don't
my
say
goodness.
anything bad around Bridget. And it was like, not only was it like he was there with us, but that we were just having the time of our lives. I will
Mhm.
share something with you off air, an experience that I had that scared my wife to death. But it was one of those situations where you want that feeling to come about a lot more often, and that is no fear. Now,
Yeah.
I have two instances in my life, the one I'll share later, and another when we had to move from Phoenix. I had no fear. There was just something inside of me that said, this can work out. We're going to find a place in Santa Barbara. We're going to find work and so on and so forth, which is what we did. We were there almost 20 years. Um, Sometimes dreams can give you those kinds of messages that you don't need to be afraid, right?
Yeah.
That
Hmm.
in spite of everything that may be going on around you in your physical world, your reality, it's in a manner of speaking, I'll use the term. That's just a dream, okay?
Hmm.
And that we can, as one friend of mine told me, rewrite the script, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter, and that's maybe what the dreams sometimes tell us is, hey, this is not written in stone. You can rewrite it. You can write it to go a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and sometimes it can tell us we're going in this direction, and it's up to us to change directions. Because I always say, we are all, despite the fact that our parents might tell us that we were an accident that happened in the back of that old Ford,
Yeah.
we all have a life purpose, and we all have spirit guides and guardian angels to guide us through our dreams on that life purpose. So, when we start having dreams like even your one with Bridget, you have a purpose. There was a purpose for you to go there, to Ireland, to that area, to that grave, and it's all part of your life purpose, which being a show host, that's also part of your purpose, because look at how many people you're helping, connecting to, guiding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember, if you're out there listening, you have spirit guides and guardian angels. You're their job.
Yeah.
You're their job. And they take that job very seriously. And sometimes they will speak to us in dreams. We'll hear
Mm.
them talk, So
Do
yeah.
you ever get the sense, the feeling, the awareness, like you just stated, that what you're doing, the people you're communicating with, as far as your guests or even
Mhm.
yourself, if you're doing something solo,
Mhm.
and again, it's a humble perspective.
Mhm.
I'm helping people. What
Yes.
I'm doing is necessary. I need to keep forging ahead, no matter what the
Yes.
obstacles might be.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
And
that's where,
sometimes those obstacles are to get you back on the path, because you're chasing butterflies, as it were, when you need to be back on the path to meet the next thing that you really need to do. And we all love butterflies. We want to chase them. And sometimes our spirit guides and guardian angels will let us chase them for a little while because we need a mental break, because you and I are working very hard to get our messages out. But what happens is, being on your show, being on the other shows, that's what got History's channel, The Unexplained, to invite me onto their show on the
Mhm.
History Channel to talk about nightmares and dreams, just like we are right here.
Yeah.
And my interview was the premiere for season 8, and it was on episode 2. So all that we do leads us into the next thing, so
Mm.
that we can fulfill our life destiny.
Mm. Now, I know we always want to try to keep the program positive. We didn't go into the area of bad dreams or nightmares, as we like to call them,
Mhm.
but those also have messages for us that can be quite profound as well.
Yeah,
And
and what I told them on the show is there is no such thing as a bad dream. Even a
ah,
nightmare is not a bad dream. Think about it this way, Richard. If we're having a really nice dream, it's all hunky dory, da di da. It's very easy to forget that, because there's no pounding, there's no
mhm.
boom. Remember this. It's la di da di da. Okay, good. Do you remember all the days when you had nothing bad happen? Not necessarily anything even good happen. It was just a regular good day. No, you don't
Mhm.
remember those because it was a regular good day. But
Yeah.
on the days where your car suddenly broke down on the highway and you were in the middle lane, you'll never forget that. And that's the same thing with a nightmare. A nightmare is a message from the other side that you need to pay attention to. And
Mm.
by dealing with that message, you can change your life for the better. You can change the direction, and you can change your health as well. So nightmares are a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is like the experience that I went through with my friend, helping him move, and the little situations that kept developing as we went through the day. I mean, when I look back, I'm thinking we should have drove up there. We drove up there around 10:30 in the morning. We should have had that truck loaded in an hour and a half and been on the freeway by noon. maybe 1 o'clock at the latest. We didn't get out of there till almost 6 because of all of the other things that were going on.
Hmm.
And I think about our move from Santa Barbara. Oh my gosh, we did a self move this time instead of having somebody come and pack everything up in a big old truck and all that stuff. And I got to tell you, it was one of those situations, just like my friend experienced, although again, he had a much smaller space. He had much less stuff, and he got it all in one trip. And yet it took forever to get it loaded. Now, thankfully, I didn't have to stick around to help unload it, but it was just an amazing thing. And I really worked to try to keep him calm. I kept reminding him, I know that you got this coming on and that coming on, and this is happening and that's happening, but you need to stay focused. What's the goal for today? The day that I was there. The goal for today is to get you moved. That's it. It's not about dealing with all this other stuff, which we will deal with, but not focus on, not get stuck in.
Hmm.
Stay on task. We're moving you down to Culver City.
Hmm.
So, and that I think that kind of helped. And that's one of those situations where I really felt compelled to do that because I knew that if we didn't stay on task, we probably wouldn't have gotten out of there until 9 o'clock at night. Then we're driving through LA, although traffic probably would have been much lighter, but it wasn't horrible. But it's just one of those things where when you start doing some of these things like what you do and what I do, it's I don't even think about it in that context per se. I know that it's there because I go back and I look at some of the comments that are left behind in SoundCloud and YouTube and so forth. And I mean, and most of the comments that I get are really positive. Great interview, or really enjoyed listening to this guy talk about whatever it was that we talked about and so
Hmm.
forth. Um, and I don't know about you, Kathleen, about when someone asks me, so you just did an interview with so and so? Yeah. Well, what'd you talk about? Well, I don't really remember. I interview so many people. And so here's the thing, go to my website, click on the link to the podcast, and you go listen to it. Yeah,
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we have so much information in our mind from all the interviews that we do with so many people with so many years. We can't remember all those details or our brain would break down.
exactly.
There's only so
Exactly.
much room on that chip.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we do not have an infinite data storage space per se. But at the same time, one of these days, I would love to learn how to go through, like I do. I've been actually going through some of my portable drives, trying to get rid of things that I know I will never look at or use or need. They go back maybe to pre 2000. I still have, for some reason, I still have those files. But at least they don't take up a lot of space, unlike the stuff that we moved from Santa Barbara here to Twin
Hmm.
Peaks. You know that our living room looked like a very disheveled Costco warehouse.
And it will for a while.
Yeah, but it's looking great, and we're feeling great, and life is good. And
Mhm.
I want to thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here. It's great to have you back again. I hope we can have future conversations about other areas as well, because I
Oh,
know that people can use that information and the wisdom and so forth to move forward and progress in their lives and not get stuck in all of the stuff that's out there.
yeah. 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 But a lot of the things that are thrown in your way are things that you need to overcome or get a handle on in order to move forward, which was kind of what your second dream was, although we weren't really able to get to it. But in that dream, I think the person in dressed kind of in black was your shadow self, your other self, and you are working together to clear out the books in the bathtub. You were surrounded by books.
Hmm.
Where you cleanse yourself, you are floating in books. You had to clear those out in order to bring your younger self, your younger opposite, a young woman,
Mm.
down into this realm.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I like that. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I'm going to ask you, I may have asked you, it's been a long time, so I know what the answers are not going to be what they were then. Three questions that I ask all of my guests.
Mhm.
changed over the years since the last time you were on. I think you'll like these three. But before I ask those of you, I want to thank you for listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. New paradigms for a new world, giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m. You want to talk about expansion, Kathleen? Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. 9 different programs, different guests, different conversations, streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We are also on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and you can watch these conversations on YouTube and Rumble. I have expanded over to Rumble, and it's really kind of an interesting experience, to say the very least. We hope that you will subscribe as well as click notification. We ask that you go to Amazon to pick up a copy of my book, which is Choices, 5 Steps for Life. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. And also, if you can leave us a tip, we'd be gratefully appreciative. PayPal, that's our tip jar. I don't have a piano to put it on, but you can always go to richarddugan.com because there are links on both, to both Amazon and PayPal. And finally, we ask that you take some time during this decade of perfect vision, and we ask you to take time to listen to and follow the promptings of that still small voice. With all that being said, we now go to our final 3 questions for our very special guest. It's great to have you back, and we look forward to having you back again sooner than later. First of those 3 questions is, who is Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos?
Well, Kat is a dreamer, and she's the queen of dreams. And she's someone living her life purpose on this earth plane, which is showing how dreams can save your life. And so it's so important to connect to our spirit guides and guardian angels on the other side, because they're going to help us get through unsurmountable challenges. And we're their job. So they're there for us all the time. And that's my purpose, to tell you that. So, hey, I just did part of my purpose, and thank you for allowing me to do that, Richard.
You're welcome. What gets you up in the morning?
Usually the alarm clock or my cat, Loki, my Siamese cat. He likes breakfast at a certain time, and he's very gentle about it. He simply sits on my chest so I can't breathe, and then he pats my face gently. It's like, wake up.
I love that. All right, now this is a movie reference. Mitch is riding with his 2 buddies on horseback, and he asks them, in the movie City Slicker, I ask you, what was your best day?
My best day was my best day was after my mother had died, and I was very close to my mother. And I said to my spirit guides and guardian angels, I need to see my mom. I don't want to have people tell me, oh, she's okay, she's with God. I need to see my mom tonight. And I went to sleep, and my mom showed up in my dream and held her arms out to me. She'd been very, very sick. And I ran into her arms and hugged her, and I said, Mom, I miss you so much. And she said, I miss you too. And then she disappeared. But it gave me peace of mind to continue with my quest in life, that my mom, there is no death. There's only life after life. So don't ever be afraid to die. We'll all be together again.
Yeah. You remind me of a session I went through with a practitioner, a good friend of mine back in Santa Barbara, took me through something that Dr. Newton wrote about in a couple of his books called Life Between Lives. And that's a fascinating subject as well. Well, once again, thank you so much. It's great to have connected with you again, and we will stay connected and do some more programs in regards to this subject matter as well as others. And once again, thank you for listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to Lal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.